Mr. Kupis, I want to thank you so much. I'm honored and privileged to be on this Zoom with you and, just excited. And I want to thank you for creating this opportunity. I mean, you changed my brother and my life and lives around the world countlessly. And in addition to running the company and everything you guys do, you're still in the field, going to work, teaching us and training us. So appreciate all you do and continue to do. And guys, just excited and flattered to be on this Zoom. I've been in ACN 20 years now. And for those of you that don't know me, I had no background in this industry. My background was working jobs. I mean, after college, after I failed out of college, I pretty much went from job to job to job, and I've done everything from cut grass to, construction, delivered pizza, and selling cars. And, I found myself 33 years old. I was selling cars. I was negative, skeptical, and broke. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but, was invited over to see the ACN opportunity. A friend's mother said, "Hey, do you look at other ways of making money?" I said, "Absolutely." Now, if a friend's mother called you up and asked you that question, what would you think it was? Maybe come over and lift something heavy or cut grass. But we went over to her living room and we took a look at this opportunity. And, when we saw this opportunity, we got immediately excited because it was an opportunity. There was no ceiling on this opportunity. You didn't have to convince me if people were going to use these services. And the one question I ask is, what is my role? And they said, just put people in front of this opportunity and we'll explain it. And some people are going to say yes, and some people are going to say no. And people that say no are probably going to be your customer. And some people will do anything, and that's what we mastered doing. And I remember like it was yesterday when Patrick and I had our first meeting, meaning this technology didn't exist. So, we just made a list of names of people that lived in our area. We're from a small town in central Pennsylvania, about 20,000 people in our town. So it's a very small town. And we made a list of people that, that we went to school with, that we were related to, we worked with, we worked for, I mean, everybody that we could. And we just started calling them up and asking them that simple question: do you look at other ways of making money? And here's what we saw. Some people said yes, some people said no. We had a meeting in our living room. Yeah, in our living room, and it was small. And, we had about 22 people show up for that. That night, someone else did the presentation for us. We had 8 people that became representatives. They caught the vision. They saw the opportunity. They signed up. Also, we had about 10 people that said, you know what, it's not for us. They became our customers. And, a few people that did nothing. And, we just duplicated that Saturday training, driving to a training and driving back and taking people with us and, hosting meetings in our living room. And, we hosted meetings in coffee shops and hotels and everywhere that we could, because that's how we were taught to build a business. And we built a massive organization from living room to living room to living room. Not only that, we moved around, meaning we're from Pennsylvania. It's a small town, and we moved, the name of the city is Altoona, but we moved to a bigger city because we wanted a bigger business, more people. And I remember we moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know anybody. We just started talking to people and, had face-to-face meetings and, built an organization there. And then we moved from there to Boston, Massachusetts. That's in the northeastern part of the United States. And, we didn't know anybody there, and moved up there and relocated up there and started talking to people and asking them, do you look at other ways of making money? And, people that said yes, we showed the business to. We built a massive organization up there. I think we recruited about 10, 11,000 people. And then from there, we moved to Florida. Right now, Florida's in the southern part of the U.S. on the East Coast. And, we didn't know anybody there, but we wanted to have a business there. And, as we went there, we're asking people, do you look at other ways of making money? And we, did presentations and trainings and, just built our business. From there, we went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and didn't know anybody there. Just started talking to strangers. And do you look at other ways of making money? And, went from there to New York City. Went into New York City, we met a cab driver I know everybody knows, and it's Senior Vice President, Mr. M.D. Rahman. And we built a huge organization there. I think 17,000 people in the New York, New Jersey marketplace. Then I moved to Dallas, Texas, where I currently live. Welcome to my living room in Dallas, Texas, and Patrick lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And how we built the business was face to face. It was PBRs, we used to call them, private business receptions. And, we did them in our living rooms. We did them in people's living rooms. And, we went from living room to living room to living room. And then from Saturday training to Saturday training to Saturday training. And, it was the most efficient way to build the business because we didn't know any other way. We built a massive organization, attracted some phenomenal people. But, when COVID hit, we had to pivot. I remember then, when this thing got serious over here in the United States and, we couldn't move around and we couldn't go anywhere, came under lockdown, thank God to the owners of ACN, they started doing our COC calls and a lot of our trainings on Zoom. So we were familiar with Zoom, we used Zoom, but we never used Zoom to build the business. And here's why, because a lot of people weren't familiar with Zoom. They didn't understand it. We had to teach them how to download the app. And, so it was a real inefficient way of building the business back then. Why? Because people didn't understand it. People didn't know it. But ACN, the owners of this company are always thinking ahead. And they had us on Zoom. So I looked at my brother and I said, well, why can't we build this on Zoom? Look, everybody knows Zoom now. Kids are going to school on Zoom. I've been to a Zoom wedding already. I've been to Zoom gatherings. I'm like, now's the time to pivot. And we got all our leaders together and we all committed to learning and doing Zoom. Now, remember, it was for us like starting over. I knew what to do in a living room. I knew how to do a presentation. I knew how to get people to move to action and help them sign up. But, when it went to Zoom, it was like learning it all over again. But here's the great thing is we already knew what to do. We just had to figure out how to use the Zoom. I remember my first Zoom presentation, I got a couple people on and I shut the Zoom off. Like I literally clicked leave and I ended the whole Zoom and we laughed about it. And I got the people back on and, I'd learn how to work the slides and learn how to mute people out. We had people come on and did things, but, can you agree when you make mistakes, you learn. See, I don't look at mistakes as a mistake. I look at it as a chance to learn. And, we started to just share ideas of this worked and we have breakout rooms and that worked. And, more people we could get on Zoom than we could get in person. Let me say that again, more people we could get on Zoom than we could get in person, because think about it. How easy was it for you to click on today's training? To click on ACN's Pacific Game On event? How easy was it? What, you just download and you clicked it. Some of you just pressed the link and got onto this Zoom. But the reason I point you out here is Zoom is the next level on how we can build our business. As people caught on to it and as people started to use it, they became more familiar with it. But here's what it's allowed us to do. It's allowed us to scale our business. Now, I'll give you an example. When I started ACN with my brother, Patrick, we wrote a list of names. And those people we knew were in our immediate area. How many of you know what I mean? Like people that lived around us, people that we could go to or they could come to us, but we knew people in other states, in other areas that we lived in. We knew people around the country and we know people in other countries. But the problem was before Zoom, we had no way of really to communicate the ACN opportunity. We had no way to be face-to-face other than we got on a plane or drove in a car and actually got face-to-face with them. With Zoom, it's literally a borderless opportunity. See, I'm envious of everybody that gets to build their business on Zoom today, because I think of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've spent over the years building our network. We spend money on cars. We spend money on travel, on gas, on plane tickets, hotel rooms, eating out, etc. All that money we invested back into our ACN business to build our network. Today with Zoom, what do you need? An internet connection, a computer, that's all you need, and a desire to build this business. I'll give you an example. I just brought a lady in. Today's her 30th day. Her name's Alame Rodriguez, right? She's a doctor, a medical doctor out of New York City. Now, I live in Dallas. She lives in New York. To give you an idea, that's a 4-hour plane ride between the two. Now, before, Dr. Alamé and myself would not been able to work together. Why? Because I would have had to go to New York or, to meet her contacts, to talk to our people. But, I said, look, let's get on a Zoom and let's start inviting people on a Zoom. And that's exactly what she did. But I said, look, you got to get off to a fast start. See, it's so important that you hit ETL and we create a story for you, but it's so simple to create a story with Zoom. Her first meeting, she put 17 people on a Zoom. Now, here's the great news. Those 17 people were all over the US. There were some out of California. There was some out of Arizona. There was people out of New York. There was people out of New Jersey. And we did that presentation. And out of that, 8 people signed up on her team and a few became customers. But she was off to a fast start. And because they came in through Zoom, they were willing to do Zooms. And in her last 30 days, she's put in 51 IBOs. She has over 230 customers in 30 days of building the business over Zoom. Now, she's also busy. She's a medical doctor. Her husband's a medical doctor. They're extremely busy, but with Zoom, she could do it. I talked to her prior to Zoom. I talked to her prior to the pandemic, and it just wasn't the right time because it took too much time for her to, create meetings and invite people to her living room and do the travel and do everything needed. But with Zoom, it was the right time for her. See, that's how fast you can build your business. Like if you're sitting there today and you're writing a list, don't limit you to Australia. Don't limit you to New Zealand. Any one of the countries that ACN does business, you can present to on Zoom. So that's what I love about it. I see people moving faster. I see people going faster, getting people on the Zoom quicker, going through people faster. We had an RD that just broke within 54 days. He signed up on Zoom. The next day, he went to a training on Zoom. After that, he got people in front of the Zoom, and in 54 days later, was able to hit the regional director position. See, here's what I do know is this. Is Zoom leveled the playing field for everybody? It leveled the playing field because, I had to drive to somebody's meeting. Those days are over. I had to, make sure that everything was right in the living room. Those days are over. All as I can do now is get people to have Zoom, send out some links, get people on, call up and invite them, get people to come to the Zoom, and you can build your business around the world. God, this is life-changing in our opportunity. See, I truly believe we haven't seen the speed that people can move in Zoom yet. The faster or the better we get with Zoom, the faster people are moving. I'm watching people today sign up in the business, go ETL in their first 24, 48, 72 hours, and they're off to the races and duplicating that through their organization. Also, it's all about building new. If you're out there building new, look, how many of us still have names on our list and we couldn't get to them because of geographic restrictions? Right now, today, that game is over. You can go and, do a presentation to somebody in the UK. You can do a presentation to somebody in the United States. Why? Right from your living room. Here's what I realized. Life isn't what happens to you. Life is how you react to what happens to you. Can we agree? See, there's some people that are taking this Zoom model, they're getting better with it every day, and they're going to be breaking records within our opportunity. I believe we're going to have RVPs hitting in 3 to 4 months. We're going to have senior vice presidents hitting in a year or maybe a little bit more. Why? Because you can cover more ground with Zoom. I remember when I was out doing home meetings, I would do a 4:30, I would drive to a 6:30, and I would drive to an 8:30. I had that drive time between, that's what, 5 hours, 6 hours of time, just going to 3 meetings. Today, I can do 3 meetings within a 2-hour period. Heck, I could do 3 meetings within an hour and a half period. So you can condense time frames. Think about it. If you're doing 3 meetings a day and you're driving around doing them, you could do the same thing in 2 hours or an hour and a half. Embrace Zoom. Guys, this is easy to use. When you make a mistake, laugh at the mistake. that's part of your training. See, as you go through Zoom and you get better at it and you learn more at it, and they're going to teach you exactly how to use it today. They're going to teach you some secrets that our team, the Rockstar organization, has perfected. So you can just copy and paste here and build a business globally around the world. Guys, here's what I can tell you. I've been with ACN 20 years. So if you're looking for a home, you found it. But I've never been more excited than I am today because I can cover more ground from the comfort of my home. I can touch more people from the comfort of my home. I can do this bit. I can do more presentations from the comfort of my home, but you got to take advantage of it. Number one, schedule your Zoom. See, procrastination is the thief of opportunity. Schedule a Zoom today. Start taking advantage of the greatest tool that we have, and that's Zoom. ACN is going to go on to do what they do. They're, with all the announcements you guys have in the Pacific and Asia Pacific, I mean, I'm jealous of everything that you guys got going on, but with Zoom can take you around the world. And with that being said, Michael, I appreciate you inviting me on this call. Appreciate everything you guys do and continue to do. And I'm going to throw the event back to you. Thank you for allowing me to speak and talk.